Okay, so for this episode of looking at my Vanguard decks, we're looking at my Michu deck. I've got the deck codes just up in the corner if you want to look at that. So standard red line, we have the new Michu. There's 4 copies of her and it's kind of neat. And it's basically she can ride over the original one, and then you search your deck for a Cannonball or a Knockno, then Persona rides. And then you can bind your copy of from Soul of your normal Michu, your grade 3, and retire something and make your Cannonball ability free. So the deck essentially went from never having enough Soul to it has too much Soul now. And her actual on-card Cannonball ability is it's basically just it's 10k power instead of 5k power, otherwise it's the same. Yeah, at the end of turn, you ride the original one back over top. So it means all you need is the LSR in your ride deck, and you always have the best looking one on top. Majority of the time. And then we have 4 copies of the new Knockno. So basically, she has, if your Cannonball is put in from AutoZone into drop, she gets plus 10k, so she's basically a 20k beta, which is good. And also she has an ability that you can essentially Counterblast, Soul Blast 1, and then she can get drive from rearguard slot as a rearguard. It has essentially has a condition on the drive that can only be done once. So if you restand her, she doesn't get drive again, and it also prevents you having 2 of her out and then drive with both of them. Which I think is a neat thing to do, that way you're not potentially breaking things. Then we have 4 copies of Revered One Metagross, who basically has the same power condition as other one. If something goes Cannonball from AutoZone to drop, you get 10k power. You should have a good beta. And then also on place, you can put a card from hand into Soul, get a Cannonball from drop, put it into hand, and then if you have counter charge, you can counter charge. This is a good way to get Soul that you don't really need anymore, but also just getting Cannonball from drop and counter charging. Yeah, so 4 copies of her, then we've got 4 copies of Waiting for Day Rifishka. That looks really, has an F after an R, that's a really weird name. But basically, on play, Energy Blast 3, look at top 7 and choose 1 Cannonball from among them. Put it into hand, shuffle deck. It's just standard ability, not that big, not that important. Vaguely useful. The most important one, so second one, is just act. Put this, if you have Vanguard with Michu Missile, so this doesn't work if you've got the Miko crossover Michu and your opponent has removed its rules with like Blagomir or whatever is counts the name, because then she no longer counts as Michu. But yes, you put her into Soul, search your deck for the new Michu and ride it as stand, and if you already rode this turn, you can't Persona ride. So basically it turns off a Persona ride ability condition on this Michu, which is at the end of her skill. And essentially means if you're going first, essentially the first turn you get it free, you can't just Persona ride straight away. Potentially it would have been okay if they had like if your opponent's grade grade 3, you can Persona ride, otherwise it's like that's fine. Well, that still works, you can still do a bunch of stuff and you still get all the stuff you need out of it. The deck doesn't feel like it actually needs Persona Ride on first turn. Like, I think it's good enough as it is. Though, who knows if it will be for long. And currently I have 2 copies of Yukia. I do want to I want a 3rd copy in, and I think I might just drop a 4th copy of the grade 2 Knockno, as you can just search for her. It literally doesn't matter. Yeah, I think definitely 3 copies. I'd rather have 4 copies of the skill because you can't search for her. Yeah. Currently has 4 standard PGs. There's a game like my local. None of the decks. I don't think anyone locally has played one of the decks with a different crest, so the Elementary Sanctuary doesn't actually really work. Otherwise I would put one in, which I do have a spare one. Then we have 3 copies of the grade 1 Knockno, which basically if you don't have a knock no in play and she's in drop and you put an order into your order zone, you can Soul Blast one and call it a back row center row. And then her main skill, which makes her important, is if she's in the back row center row, center back row, battle your Vanguard attacks, your mature attacks, counterblast one, discard a card, stand her and swap her. So basically you get 2 Vanguard attacks with the deck. And then we have 2 copies of her. All she does is Soul Blast, retire this unit, choose up to 2 non-grade 1 normal units from your drop and put them into your deck, shuffle it. So it's basically, if for some reason you don't have any Michus left in your deck, but you still have a copy of her, you can put one on the deck to search out. It also potentially does a bit of anti-deck out. If the games go long, if they get drawn out, you do actually have to worry about decking out. As for triggers, it's just the standard 8 crits with 4 of them effects. I got 3 front triggers. I do have 1 of each of the effect heals, or the non-shit ones. Not that the other one isn't shit, but it doesn't feel very good. And then I've got the red over trigger. I'm mildly tempted to run the blue one, but I do like the red one, as essentially you always have a target for it. Like throughout all your attacks with drive, you always have one, like another red card where you can just restand with it. At the same time, it's not as good as it would be in a deck which is better suited for it. So I honestly might just get the blue one at some point, which would be a bit better. So we've got the standard Michu, just explain it. So she has an ability to kill Cannonball. And when she attacks, so you Soul Blast 2 or 3 if you use the new one. And in this case, this one retires 1 rear guard of your opponent and gives her 5,000. Right, and then your Cannonball order, the normal one, the non-promo one, essentially you can play it with Counterblast, and when it goes into your order zone you draw a card. And then if you have a Michu grade 3, you can put it into drop, which activates all your into drop skills. And then you replace her Cannonball ability with this one, which is basically when this attack, Soul Blast 2, choose 3 of your units, they get 10k until end of turn. Then the other one's a promo, it's same play cost, same into order zone condition of drawing a card, but then what she does, she doesn't replace the Cannonball ability, you select one of your units, it gets 10k, and then you can choose one of your opponent's rear guard, they can't stand on your opponent's next stand phase, and they can't intercept until the opponent's next turn. End of the opponent's next turn. So it's basically it's more of a control card. And then you have all set up, which you find when you grade over grade 1, sorry. It has a condition, if you have Michu, Vanguard with Michu in its name, you can tap it, soul charge 1, and choose the Cannonball from hand, put it into order zone. So you can, with this deck, you can play 2 orders a turn. But you put 1 in from that and you play the other. So technically you play 1 order, but you can also just put 1 in. So that's the general basics. Usually what you'll do with what I find the best way to do it when you use this Cannonball, you'll usually put the 10Ks on the grade 1 knock no, and then your 2 attack and rear guards. That way your knock no actually gets power when it does the attack. And usually you could use both in one turn, but I find that you need to be a bit more careful with what you use, because you will deck out if you just keep putting too much in. So at some point when you might have enough cannonballs in your order zone that you don't actually want to be putting more in, and you just have to make use of what you have. Because essentially the main issue with the deck is, so you draw for turns, so that's 1 card. You have 4 drive, so that's 5. If you put a cannonball into your order zone this turn, if you played it, you got 6. And if you had a soul charge to do it, it's 7. So you're going through 7 cards in 1 turn. Plus, if you're using her to ride, you can still use Michu's basically as an ability where you counterblast, draw a card, and either discard a card or play a card to rear guard slot. Yeah, so you potentially 8 cards. You can move for 8 cards a turn. So once you are grade 3, you generally will not last very long. You basically, yeah, so if the game does draw out and you can't push through the win, you will potentially just deck out and die. Yeah. But as for, yeah, so the deck, I find it does do pretty well. I have decked out just once, which is against Varga, and the game did just go ages. But other than that, I think it's pretty good. My main change I want to put a third Ukier in and potentially go to a blue overtrigger. Other than that, I think the deck works pretty well, and yeah. This should be quite a bit shorter than the others because it's simple. There's almost no changes I want to make to the deck. But yeah, thank you for coming in. I'll see you all next week for another Vanguard video.